Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're doing a 12-team PPR mock draft for the 6th overall spot using FantasyPros Draft Wizard. The roster positions for today's mock are going to be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex spots, a kicker, defense, and 5 bench spots. We're drafting up against the Yahoo, ESPN, and NFL pre-draft rankings, all mixed together. Before we get on into this mock draft, though, I would like to ask that if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. So the draft begins with Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, and Justin Jefferson. I do not disagree at all with the top 5 picks. Now, personally, I would have things in a little bit different of an order, but in a majority of leagues, those are going to be the guys going with the top 5 picks in your draft. Now, you could say in some leagues, Jahmyr Gibbs will go in the top 5, and maybe CeeDee Lamb falls outside of the top 5. Justin Jefferson, now dealing with a injury, maybe he falls outside of the top 5 if you're doing your draft today, but this does feel like a pretty normal start to a draft. And we talked about a couple of days ago inside of my video where it was how the first round of fantasy football draft should go, and I feel very confident that the first 6 picks in fantasy drafts are essentially locked and loaded in. Again, there could be a different order of picks, but a majority of times, unless someone gets a little bit crazy, a little bit loco, and drafts a quarterback early on, or maybe they're a big fan of the Jets, so they want Breece Hall on their team, or something crazy like that, this is going to be the top 6 picks, and Jahmyr Gibbs belongs inside of the top 6. I believe Jahmyr Gibbs has the upside to be the running back number 1. They have David Montgomery, and while it is going to be very annoying when David Montgomery vultures Jahmyr Gibbs, without Ben Johnson, I do think this might be an offense that gets a little bit less creative, and what that will mean is a little bit less David Montgomery, right? Instead of kind of going for some straight up quarters, like the whole first quarter or the first couple of drives where they're just running David Montgomery out there. I do believe this year they might be getting a little bit less cute with Ben Johnson now in Chicago with the Bears. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs is obviously going to be a big piece in this offense. He has running back 1 upside. And if something was to happen to David Montgomery, obviously we don't root for injuries. I'm a huge fan of David Montgomery, so knock on wood, we ain't hoping for that. But if something was to happen to David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs would instantly be the running back 1 in my fantasy football rankings. And again, even losing Ben Johnson, I still expect this offense to be lethal like the weapon. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a certified smash and a clear top 6 pick. Now, if you say Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't on the board, and for some reason, none of those other guys were, like the CeeDee Lamb or the Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, who I would pick there, for me, it would potentially be, if you wanted a running back, I'd be fine going with Christian McCaffrey at the 1.06, though I probably would have ended up going with Malik Neighbors, but Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the pick here. Again, the guy's been in the NFL for 2 seasons, and both seasons he has been dominant 50 Shades of Grey style, and there's really no reason to believe that the train is going to slow down for Jahmyr Gibbs. After we went ahead and drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, Nico Cousin, Let's Go Bowling Collins comes off the board, Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors, Ashton Genty, Christian McCaffrey, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brian Thomas Jr., Devon 2 Chains, Devon A-Chan, Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Drizzy Drake London, and Josh Jacobs. So we're back up on the clock here. Best running backs available are going to be Chase Brown, Bucky Irving. All of the quarterbacks and all the tight ends are available. At wide receiver, Ladd McConkey, Jackson Smith in the Jigba, Garrett Wilson, and Tyreek Hill. Now, for me, I have Bucky Irving ranked ahead of Chase Brown. I would prefer, personally, to draft Chase Brown inside of the 3rd round, where I think he is going to go in a lot of leagues. So to me, picking him at the 19th overall pick does feel just a little bit gross. Again, if Chase Brown's ADP ended up being a top 24 pick, then obviously we have to adjust. But right now, I think you're going to be able to get him in a lot of leagues inside of the 3rd round. For me, the pick here is between Bucky Irving as well as Ladd McConkey. Now, we did take Brock Bowers inside the 2nd round of our last mock draft, so I do try to do things different from one mock draft to the other. Earlier on in the fantasy football offseason, I was a bit off on Brock Bowers because it did feel a little gross having to select him inside the 2nd round when you can get a guy like George Kittle potentially in the 3rd or the 4th round in some leagues. but I have opened up more to him, as I do feel as though the Raiders offense is a little bit underrated this season. But since we took Bowers with the pick inside the second round in the last video, I wouldn't want to do the same thing twice, because that's not the point of mock drafts, right? You want to be trying out different things every single time. And in my opinion, if you're doing a bunch of mock drafts, you definitely want to be doing that. So for me, it's between Bucky and Ladd McConkey. Since we did go with Jahmyr Gibbs at the 106, I want to go Ladd with this pick. Now, Ladd McConkey was a guy that really started to put things on later on in the season. And when you are a rookie, that is a very good sign to the fact that his next season, 2025, he is going to come out hot. He is going to continue to build on that. He is still very clearly the #1 wide receiver on the Chargers. Now, I know you all know that the Harbaugh scheme, the Harbaugh mindset is to run the ball gently down the stream, and I believe they're going to do that a ton with Omarion Hampton as well as the Pirate Najee Harris. But frankly, I do still love Ladd McConkey. I am not some Justin Herbert, the pervert dick rider, but I do think Justin Herbert is going to force the ball to Ladd McConkey. And like I said, towards the end of the season was when he really started to put things on, and I think he's going to continue to do so in 2025. I feel very confident in him finishing as a top 12 wide receiver. But if you did want to go ahead and draft Chase Brown or Bucky Irving there, definitely Bucky Irving. I would be fine with that. After Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers, Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, Kyron Williams, Trey McBride, T.H. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, Chase Brown, Tyreek Hill, and Breece Hall. So still no quarterbacks off the board. And it's interesting to talk about the quarterback position because it differs so heavily from one league to another. In your less experienced league, you know, if you're in your league with your cousins, maybe your uncles, your aunts, you're in your family league with your cousin Vinny, Gabagula, right? Your cousin Vinny. That might be a league where Josh Allen might fuck around and go in the first round. He might go in the second round. If you're in your more sharper league with maybe your friends who actually care about fantasy football, they watch videos like mine, they watch Mason Dodd, they watch the Fantasy Stock Exchange, they watch Ron Stewart, right? They watch these bdge, then those are the kind of people that might be waiting on the quarterback position, right? So it really does change from one league to another. I've noticed in my more casual leagues that I play in, the quarterback position does go a lot higher. So it does heavily dictate from league to another. I do believe, though, at the 306, if you were completely sold on Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden, Stormy Daniels, Jalen Hurts, whoever you think is the quarterback one, I think it's fine to take them in the third round. Though I do personally like to wait at the quarterback position. I typically like my teams better when I am able to make my first 3 picks where none of them are either a quarterback or a tight end. I continue to hammer in on my wide receivers, my running backs in that range. Looking at the running back position, Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Chuba Hubbard, running backs that I'm fans of, right? Like I'm multiple people. Big fan of Kamara, big fan of Chuba Hubbard. Though at pick number 30, that's a little bit too rich for me. I'm kind of out on JSN. I do like Garrett Wilson a ton though, but there is some confusion with the health of Justin Fields, right? There is some confusion on how healthy he's going to be with the toe injury. Now, luckily, he got carted off and it wasn't like an ACL or he didn't tear his Achilles or something. So he should be fine by the start of the season, but that is something to monitor. So with the fact that we try different things every single time, I will go with the quarterback here. Right now, I have Josh Allen ranked as the quarterback one, but I could see myself pivoting towards Lamar Jackson being the quarterback one. To me, between those top 4 guys, I don't think you can really go wrong. So with the fact that there's some confusion with Garrett Wilson due to the quarterback position, with the fact that Matthew Stafford is banged up, so there's even more confusion with Davante Adams, because, you know, if you ever saw that clip from that Netflix show Wide Receiver, Davante Adams fucking hates Jimmy Garoppolo. He was saying that Jimmy Garoppolo was going to get him killed, get him whacked. Shout out to Big Pussy. So there is, in my opinion, while I love Davante Adams, there's just enough confusion right now to kind of make me just want to take the safe pick, wrap the condom around my team, and go with the quarterback. So we're going to go with Joshua Allen here. But again, if you're like, Nick, Josh Allen wouldn't be available in my league there, then fine, take Jaden Stormy Daniels or Lamar Jackson at that pick. So after Josh Allen, Jackson Smith-Njigba, James Cook, followed by Lamar Jackson, George Kittle, Davante Adams, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, Jaden Daniels, Jaden Stormy Daniels, Mike Evans, James Conner, Jalen, stop, it hurts, and Chuba Hubbard. Now, Joe Mixon, things are not looking great for Joe Mixon right now. The report appears to be that this man's foot is messed up, his leg is messed up, and he might not be ready to go for the start of the season. It might be 9-inch Nicholas Chubb season, so I am not touching Joe Mixon with the 10-foot pole again. This is why we wait to draft to late August, early September. I know some of you guys might have to draft earlier. One of my main home leagues drafts on August 11th when we're all together now. So that's how it goes, but Joe Mixon right now is staunchly off my board. There were some worries about the reports, but everyone was kind of just massaging around the area saying, oh, it'll be okay, don't worry. And then the report came out a few days ago that, yeah, we really need to fucking worry because he can't practice. So I am very, 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 very nervous right now when it comes to selecting a running back, frankly, that is an unk, that's old, and has been dealing with injuries for the last year, now dealing with the injury still. It really does scare me. So we're back up on the clock here. To me, while I do want to get Garrett Wilson, it's a no-brainer to take Omarion Hampton. I think Hampton is going to end up inside of the 3rd round very, very soon. Now, some people might say, I don't want to draft 2 guys on the same team through the first 4 rounds. That's rightfully so, right? If you thought that the LA Chargers were going to suck donkey dick, if you thought Justin Herbert's a fraud, if you think the Chargers are going to stink, then go ahead and fade away. But for me, I'm going to go with Hampton here. I love Alvin Kamara as well, but gun to the head, I'm starting to lean more onto Hampton because of the fact that Najee Harris's eye is messed up. He ain't practicing. So even if he comes back a couple of weeks from now and is good to go, I'm really thinking that Hampton's just locked and loaded as the RB1, whereas if you asked me a couple weeks ago before the 4th of July incident, I probably would have told you I thought it was going to take a couple of weeks for Hampton to take over, but now it seems like he has the reins of the offense as the running back number 1. So after we went ahead and drafted Hampton, Garrett Wilson, Alvin Kamara, Marvin Harrison Jr., DeAndre Swift, Joe Burrow, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Zay Flowers, DK Metcalf, and Isaiah Pacheco. So we got Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Omarion Hampton, and Ladd McConkey. Now it is time to go hammer time on the wide receiver position because we have just one through our first 4 picks, and that's what happens when you select a quarterback that early. I'm perfectly fine taking 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds, but sometimes that kind of feels like a gross decision, especially in a league where you could start 2 guys at the flex position, where a lot of times I want to be rolling 4 deep at the wide receiver position. Having a quarterback early could make that feel worse. Now, DJ Moore is a guy where it's really just you're scared because he burnt you last season. When you really think about it, DJ Moore was force-fed the ball last season. He was getting targeted out the wazoo. 140 targets, but he only had 98 receptions and 966 yards. So if Caleb Williams is better because of Ben Johnson, you would think that DJ Moore might be able to elevate his play into being a top 10 wide receiver. The Vegas lines love DJ Moore, but the reason why we're scared about DJ Moore is, for one, the reports around him just haven't been the most positive about how maybe he feels a little bit disgruntled in this offense. Maybe Rome Odunze is going to ascend and take over for him. But if you just kind of take away that fear, when you're in the 5th round, DJ Moore being the wide receiver 1 in a Ben Johnson offense could be straight cash, straight to the bank, an elite pick inside the 5th round because he could be a top 12 wide receiver. I believe he is good enough to do that. The question is, can Caleb Johnson play better? Caleb Williams play better. I don't know why I've called him Caleb Johnson multiple times. Caleb Williams play better. Can Ben Johnson really figure this out? And DJ Moore wake the fuck up? So I know there's a lot of question marks, but for me, there's too much upside to avoid him, especially when, I'm fine with Courtland Sutton. Rashee Rice, we don't know how long he's going to get suspended. I think that'll be figured out shortly. But to me, I feel like in the 5th round, DJ Moore is a pretty big value, but it wouldn't shock me if a lot of people are really, 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 really scared to draft him because of the fact that he did burn them last season. I know he finished well technically on the season. He was a top 20 wide receiver, but if you had him, you know it did not feel very, very good. After DJ Moore, David Montgomery, Aaron Jones, RJ Harvey, Courtland Sutton, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice. The 6th round opens with Tony Pollard, Javonte Williams, Devontae Smith, Quinshawn Judkins, Cam, I'm a scat man, and George Pickens. Before we talk about those picks and make some more picks, of our own. I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends, our partner over at Underdog. If you're brand new to Underdog and sign up using promo code Notorious, you will get your free pick plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Plus, you will receive with a $10 deposit on Underdog my draft guide, my draft rankings, and all that is included in there for free with your $10 deposit. The reason why I like Underdog so much is because it's the draft and that's it. You can do as many drafts as you would like, and you don't have to worry about doing any trades, no in-season management, no waivers. Underdog automatically puts the highest scores into your lineup at the end of every single week for you. I love doing all of the drafts over on there. They have some lower entry contests. They have their main contest, Best Ball Mania, $2 million to first place, $15 million in total prizes, $25 to enter. I love doing the drafts on there. Head on over to Underdog. Come draft with me because I'm ripping drafts all the time. They're dropping contests with as low of entry fees as $5, I even saw a contest drop for $1, so make sure you guys do check that out. Underdog, promo code Notorious, or by clicking on the link in the video description. So, some picks I don't like. Cam Scatterbo, I'm seeing a lot of hype. I'm seeing a lot of people get down on their knees and fondle the Johnson of Cam Scatterbo. I'm seeing people bang the drum for him aggressively, max volume, and I get it. I get it. I like what I'm seeing in camp, but I still think Tracy's the guy, and also in the 6th round, that's just ludicrous. Quinshon Judkins, who knows what the fuck's going to happen with this suspension, because it seems like the NFL really never hits the guy with the left hook. Metaphorically, of course, that's a terrible analogy for what the fuck happened with Quinshon Judkins, so I apologize for that. Didn't even mean to say that. But Quinshon Judkins, who knows what the suspension is going to be? Who knows if he will get suspended? So right now, just stay away, right? There's no need to pull the trigger on him this early when you have no idea. And my assumption would be he gets suspended for multiple games. So I'm staying clear away. Now we're back up on the clock here. We got Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Omarion Hampton, Ladd McConkey, DJ Moore. The question here is, do you want safety or do you want risk? In my opinion, I think Ted McMillan is way safer than Jalen Waddle. Why do I think that? Because I believe Ted McMillan's clearly the wide receiver 1 in Carolina. The reports out of camp have been very positive for him. If you look at his tape at Arizona, it looks incredible. He is clearly better than Xavier. Somebody touch him, I get. He's better than Hunter Renfrow. He's better than Adam Thielen. So I think that based upon his tape, based upon the reports, based upon how Bryce Young looked at the end of last season, and based on how pass-heavy the Panthers were towards the end of last season, I think wheels could be up for Ted McMillan to finish as a top 12 wide receiver. Now, Jalen Waddle is a little bit more risky, right? We've seen some pretty good seasons, some not-so-hot seasons. You have the Tua injury risk baked in there. So there is some risk, but Jalen Waddle has also been a better player in the past. I think he is still a talented guy, but I'm going to go with Ted McMillan. I'm going to go with the youth on the squad to balance out the unkness of TJ Moore. I really do think Ted McMillan, it might take a couple of games, right? That's the things with rookies. He might not just instantly come out the gate on fire, but I think he should easily be in the range of, like, if we're just looking at wide receivers, he should be in the same range as DK Metcalf, the same range as DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, but a lot of the times you can get him much further down than that. After Ted McMillan, Jameson Williams, Tyrone Tracy, Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, Brian Robinson. The man got shot and he's still breathing. Jalen Warren, Calvin Ridley, Chris Olave, Pat Mahomes, and Najee Harris. So Jalen Waddle falls back to us, which makes it very enticing to pick him here. At running back, Travis Etienne, Zach Charbonnet, Ramondre Stevenson. Etienne season appears to be diminishing. It seems like the drumbeat out of Jags camp is, oh my gosh, look at Tank Bigsby. He's getting all the touches. Now, again, it's July 28th as you're watching this, right? I'm recording this at midnight, July 28th. Things are going to change, but right now, Travis Etienne seems like he is going to be the number 2. And Tootin's going to be number 3, and Tank Bigsby number 1. I always thought Tank Bigsby was better than Etienne, though, so that's not really much of a surprise to me. Definitely a bad pick, though, if you're picking inside the 7th round. Now we're in the range where the tight end starts to feel interesting because we didn't take one of the top 3. So to me, if you're not taking Bowers, McBride, Kittle, you kind of want to pump the brakes and just wait a little bit. You know? Don't instantly in the 4th round panic. Oh God, I didn't get Kittle, Bowers, or McBride. Let me draft Laporta, or let me draft Hawkinson. I think Laporta and Hawkinson could be fine. They could be top 3 guys. I'd rather wait a little bit further down. See, Laporta in the 6th round, way better than where he's been going in a lot of drafts, which is in like the 4th-ish rounds. So I am fine with that. So here it's Kelsey, Ingram, Njoku, Andrews. If you go ahead and go to the draft board, there's something I like to do. Not every website has like view by roster like this, but if you just look at the draft board, the team next to us, right? It's our pick right now, and then it swings back around. So the teams here, basically all have tight ends except for team number 4 here. Over here, only one team has a tight end. So if, for instance, you were really sold on, okay, I really like Kelsey this year, I really like Ingram, I like Njoku, I like Andrews, you have a preference, then go ahead and take that one here. But for me, I don't really, like, I'd be fine with Andrews. I wouldn't be surprised if Andrews outscored Kelsey. Now, if all of them go, it will kind of hurt us because I do like that range of tight end because it feels like a lot more of a guessing game down here. But I am fine waiting as well. So I'm not super sold on going tight end here. So for me, it would be wide receiver. And if you can get Jalen Waddle in the 7th round, I'm laughing straight to the bank. If Waddle isn't available, I'm scared of Chris Godwin right now. Again, it's just kind of be vigilant, be intelligent. That's not even the correct word. Anyways, I feel like fucking phase adapt, a guy that doesn't understand anything. If you just want to pay attention to the news, right? He's placed on the PUP list due to injury, ankle injury. It could mean that he misses a significant amount of time. It's something to follow as camp goes along. Travis Hunter is playing more snaps on defense compared to offense. That scares the fuck out of me. In the 7th round, I get it. I get why you like him. I think the skill is there, but to me, he would be not the pick here. If I wasn't going to go with Jalen Waddle, say he wasn't available, I love Rome Odunze, but I already have DJ Moore on the squad, so I probably would have just played it safe, clicked on Jacoby Myers there, and moved on, but we will go with Jalen Waddle because he is available. And we are getting quite the star-studded team because clearly the ADP that we're drafting up against doesn't respect, or the pre-draft rankings don't respect Mr. Jalen Waddle. After Jalen Waddle, Baker Mayfield, Ramondre Stevenson, Chris Godwin, Justin Fields, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Andrews, Bo Nix, Jerry Jeudy, Jordan Addison Ray, Travis Etienne, Rashad White, and Rome Odunze. So here, if you wanted Kelsey, Ingram, Njoku, whoever you have as your favorite tight end, you would go ahead and take them here. Again, because of the fact that we can use our brain, very unlikely that a team that already drafted a tight end is going to double tap this early in the 8th round and take one of those guys. So since only one team doesn't have a tight end, it's safe to assume that 2 of Kelsey, Ingram, and Njoku will come back to us. So we're not going to hit the tight end position here because we used our brain. That's something you always want to do in your draft. Fucking look at the teams going on around you, because instead of reaching on Kelsey, if you love Kelsey, you could just wait. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. And since we have Hampton, who to me, again, I think Najee's not going to be good to go for week 1, or I think he's not going to be the RB1. I do still want to have an RB3 that I feel like I could play in week 1 if things get a little bit difficult. And because of the fact that I think, man, I like Tank Bigsby as well, and I feel like he's going to go later. There are definitely other options late. But we're just going to go ahead and grab... See, for me, it's between Diggs and it's between Tajay Spears. I do want to have a better RB3, though, so we will go ahead and draft Tajay Spears here. I think Tajay Spears could end up being legitimately the RB1 by the end of the season on Tennessee. Would I bet my life savings on that? Would I bet my children? Would I bet my wife on, like, these YouTube? I would bet my mortgage on these 7 fucking players. I would sell my soul for these 7 players, right? The shit that people say. And I do it too, right? It's good clickbait. Let people watch the videos. Respect. Shout out to you for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Leave a like, whether you are new to the channel or not. I like Tajay Spears. I don't think he's guaranteed to become the guy there, but he did look really, really good. Really nice. I like last season when he did get the opportunity to be the guy. And even if he's not, he gets to play second fiddle. There's a lot of talks from the coaching staff there that they want to use Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard more as like a 50-50 share. So after Tajay Spears, Kyler Murray, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, Caleb Williams, Bashawn Tootin. Then we see Matthew Golden Scar, Jaden Bonnie Blue, Jaden Riley Reed, back-to-back hoes going in the draft, Cooper Kupp, and Jaleel McLaughlin. What a fucking pick, Jaleel McLaughlin in big 2025. We're going to keep passing on the tight end position because we can start 2 flexes, 2 wide receivers. We want to keep loading up on the wide receiver talent. And they need to fix Stephon Diggs' ADP. He should be going inside like the top 7 rounds. All the reports are that he's the guy in New England. No shit. When you look at the other wide receivers around him, he is clearly number 1. He is fully healthy. He was cleared to practice. I've seen videos. He looks fine. Now, again, the training camp videos of a guy running in shorts, shouldn't be why you draft him, right? It shouldn't be why you love Stephon Diggs. But if you're worried about his health, the fact that you can see him running around, that's something that's very positive for me. So I love Stephon Diggs. In my opinion, he is a straight up steal in the 8th and 9th, even in the 7th round if he ends up going that high. After Diggs, Slick Ricky, Ricky Bullets, Ricky Rolex, Ricky Pearsall, Austin Eckler, Khalil Shakira, Jordan, the numbers, Mason, what do they mean? Keon Coleman, Tyler Algier, Zach Moss, Juwan Jennings, Zach Charbonnet, Hollywood Brown, Deebo Samuel, and Josh Downs. Now is the point where I would just probably take the tight end. But there's really no reason to, because again, this team doesn't, every other team besides one still doesn't have, or still already has a tight end. So we're going to go ahead and snag some more falling value with Tank Bigsby, who I believe will end up being the running back 1 on the Jaguars, and his ADP is quickly going to rise, and ETN's value is quickly going to diminish. So that's why you want to take advantage of drafting on a website like Underdog. Again, promo code Notorious to get that free pick, get that deposit bonus, as well as getting my draft guide, because you can draft on there now. Get your drafts in before the ADP shift and people kind of figure things out there. So after Tank Bigsby, Isaac Rendo, Michael Pittman, Ray Davis, Roshan Johnson, Jerome Ford, F-150. Seems like a nice pick in the 10th, 11th, 12th-ish round range. For me, it's like Dylan Sampson, Jerome Ford. I would prefer to draft Dylan Sampson just because, like, you know, if they really like Jerome Ford, they wouldn't have drafted Sampson and Quinshon Judkins, but maybe I'm just wrong and they still like Ford. I've always been a Ford guy. Ford tough, but it didn't work last year. Darnell, here comes the Mooney, who's banged up. Brandon Ayuk, Emeka Egbuka, Rashid Shaheed, Shahid, and Trey Harris. So here, we're going to get our tight end. I would prefer Ingram over Kelsey just because I feel like I trust him a little bit more than Kelsey, to be honest. But I think early on the season, without Rashi, you might end up seeing Kelsey go ballistic early on, and then you might be able to trade him. He's a nice trade bait, right? Because he's a big name player. Everyone knows who the fuck Travis Kelsey is. He starred in Happy Gilmore too, so everyone knows who he is, right? So we've got 4 running backs, which means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. We need some more wide receivers. Realistically, if Travis Hunter was still available in your home league, you would take him here in the 12th round. No duh. Obviously, even with all the risks, how much offense is he going to play versus how much defense? How much can they keep him out there for? We'll see, right? But he's not going to be available in the 12th round, so we're just not going to take him. Like, I try to make these things at least somewhat realistic, right? Try to be as realistic as possible, talk through other scenarios. That is not realistic at all, and I'm surprised that no one has taken a kicker defense yet, because in your at-home league, oh no, someone took the Broncos. In your at-home league, a lot of times, someone's going to take the defense. Someone's going to take the kicker in like the 9th round, the 10th round. They're like, oh, I already got my whole starting roster filled out, so now it's time to draft a fucking defense, even though that is like one of the dumbest things you can do. And we're going to be talking about how to draft a defense a little bit later when we get to the end after these next 2 picks. So obviously, again, you would draft Hunter, but we don't need to draft Hunter. I feel confident in Josh Allen as my QB1. Obviously, if you draft someone in the 3rd round to be your quarterback, you don't need to draft a backup week 7, or if he gets hurt, knock on wood, we'll just go ahead and figure that out then. So don't draft a backup quarterback. If you draft Evan Ingram, look, if you get him in the 11th round, I'm very confident that he's a clear tight end 1, a clear top 6, top 8-ish guy. You just stick with him. You don't need a backup tight end. So we're going to go with a running back and a wide receiver here. We're going to go ahead and grab 9-inch Nicholas Chubb, as I feel like right now he's pretty clearly the running back 1 in Houston with the Joe Mixon news. Again, if we get to late August and, hey, Joe Mixon's good to go, then maybe we don't draft Chubb there. But with fantasy football being so information-based, in my opinion, I got the information now that Mixon is messed up. Let's not fucking draft Chubb super late. Let's just get him, right? Let's not wait. Let's not wait anything out. Let's just get him now. And then we're going to go ahead and draft a wide receiver here to close things out. Based on how the league is positioned with 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 flexes, you honestly don't even need to draft 5 running backs. I just loved the values right now, and I think these are going to be values you're not going to be able to get soon. And then for our last pick, we're just... Again, when you're down here at wide receiver, in my opinion, you should just be hunting for the most upside possible. I have read, I don't know why I can't click show more. I have read some positive things about Pat Bryant potentially getting a super solid role, the Michael Thomas role in Denver. How actionable is that? We're going to have to wait to see in preseason, but that was a pretty positive report. I'm starting to kind of like Deontay Johnson, but I always fall for him In Pittsburgh, Roman Wilson is getting a bit of steam as well. A lot of reps on the outside in 11 personnel. So we're going to just go ahead and draft him. And again, with your last pick, the last picks, you don't need to be as safe as possible. If Roman Wilson, week 1, he's out there sucking on some schlong, maybe you want to be like, okay, let's give it one more try, right? Week 2, and the guy's taking a Bonnie Blue level load to the face. Then you're like, okay, time to cut him, right? So that's how I kind of look at the late round picks. I'm not looking to draft Tyler Lockett to get me 9 fucking PPR points a game, right? I'm looking for a guy that could potentially explode Krakatoa, be the reason why I win my league. So now we're going to go ahead and draft a kicker and a defense. We'll go ahead and draft Cameron Dicker, the kicker, as our kicker. And then for defense, you want to draft your defense, not based upon how good you think the defense is, right? You might be like, oh, the Buffalo Bills, they brought in Joey Bosa. I love the Buffalo Bills defense, right? Sure, go ahead and say that. The Buffalo Bills will probably put my defense into a figure 4. They will probably beat the ever-living shit out of the Dolphins like they always do. So yeah, the Bills have a great defense, but week 1, they got a tough matchup up against the Ravens. So that's no go. The Chiefs, if I remember correctly, they've got the Chargers. So that's a fuck no, baby. We don't want that. We ain't running into that buzzsaw. The Lions, they got the Packers. So that's a big no. The Rams, I believe, have a good matchup in week 1. They are going up against the Houston Texans, potentially without Joe Mixon. Brand new look on offense. They don't have Stephon Diggs. They don't have Tank Dell. It's Nico Collins, a ragtag group at wide receiver. I like Nick Chubb, but again, I think week 1 is where the Rams catch them. The Rams defense was hot. I do like them as their defensive line is really great. Shout out to Jared Verse. The Texans offensive line is bad. So I think the Rams are going to be real nice in week 1. And guess what? After week 1, you can drop them like it's hot if they have a tougher matchup and move on with things, right? And every week, I make a video on which defenses to stream, and in August, probably around the midpoint, I will make a video, must-draft defenses for week 1, and again, switching out your defenses every week is a great way to get a leg up on your opponents. So we got an A 95. This team's a 105, in my opinion, but regardless of your draft grade, it doesn't matter, right? Like, they could be like, Nick, your team sucks. Freaks to high heaven, that would be fine with me as well. So we got Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, O'Marion Hampton, Ladd McConkey, DJ Moore, Evan Ingram, Ted McMillan, Jaylen Waddle away, Waddle, the LA Rams, Cameron Dicker, Tajay Spears, Stephon Diggs, Tank Bigsby, Nick Chubb, Roman Wilson. If this was my team, I would be telling the commissioner, I'm always basically the commissioner of all of my leagues, I'd be calling myself up. I just fucking don't bother holding the Venmo money that I got. I'm just spending it. I'm getting a new watch, all right? Because that's what we're doing, baby. This team's amazing. I love it. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. If you are new, hit that like button. Whether you are new to the channel or not, check out one of the videos on the screen if you haven't seen them already. I love you a long time. Have a great one. And as always, good boy.